Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. So a couple days ago, I saw a video from Million Dollar Bogan. He's another YouTuber here that does a lot of moto vlogging, mainly around his Harley-Davidson motorcycles, and basically what that does for him and his mental health. And he creates incredible content. I'm talking brilliant content. So he, a couple days ago, put out a video basically saying that he's, well, essentially quitting moto vlogging, possibly forever, based on an incident that happened with Harley-Davidson, and it sounds like Geelong Harley-Davidson in Australia, and maybe even Harley-Davidson reaching out to Million Dollar Bogan himself. I also reached out to Harley-Davidson. They did not respond. I'm not surprised. However, what I will say is that I've kind of always looked at YouTube as Harley-Davidson somewhat ignoring the platform in general and the people that are on it. They definitely don't really go out of their way to support content creators. But with this incident, they cannot say that they're not paying attention, because clearly they are. Now, a big part of why I'm making this video is because I had a situation a while back where I felt very managed by a company, and when I watched his video, it sort of resurfaced a lot of those feelings that I had had from a previous experience. In my situation, it was a little bit different, where they were trying to manage me, in my opinion, to basically give me a pat on the back so that I would just maybe continue making great content around this product. Again, I'm not an employee of any of these companies, and if they want to try to manage the narrative through my mouth, I don't necessarily agree with that. And that's why I was passionate when I saw this video from Danny, and I thought I really needed to put a video together and address this from my perspective. I want to talk about Million Dollar Bogan and his impact on the Harley-Davidson brand. He mentions in his video that he's a brand ambassador and he pushes the product, and he absolutely does. So do a lot of us on YouTube. Now, what's interesting is that YouTube as a platform is incredibly valuable to these brands. They cannot deny it. These brands are unable to produce organic content, which is what millennials, younger people want to consume. They want to see real people having real experiences with the brand and be as organic with it as they humanly possibly can. So Harley-Davidson's YouTube channel has 45,852,000 views at the time of the recording of this video. I included Jason Momoa because he is basically their paid spokesperson for the brand at this point. On his Harley videos, he has about 8 million views. So all in, you're talking about 53 million views between Jason Momoa and Harley-Davidson. Now, non-branded content, I just pulled 9 YouTube channels that kind of came off the top of my head as larger YouTube channels that I'm aware of, and I came up with 9 of them. Blockhead, Adam Sandoval, Ryan Erlacher, John Maxwell, Million Dollar Bogan, of course, Moto Noob Rider, Bike and Bird, Her Two Wheels, who is on the come up now, and the Ornery One, who's about the same size as my channel. Those channels combined have 147,400,000 views at the time of this recording. So Harley-Davidson and Jason Momoa, 53 million. These independent YouTube content creators, 147 million views. So you're talking about huge impacts. You're talking about people who are going to spend money with the brand that I can guarantee you are consuming the content of these content creators, because organic content is king. So it makes sense that Harley-Davidson is paying attention to YouTube. What's strange is that Harley-Davidson really doesn't provide any sort of support to these creators who are providing them like an invaluable service to their brand. Something I've been critical of previously, including their launch events around these bikes. So Harley-Davidson seems to not really care about YouTubers until they want to manage them. I don't agree with that. Now, the one thing I do want to talk about, and Daniel Million Dollar Bogan says it, is, you can no longer have a laugh. Political correctness is just getting out of control. I agree with those statements completely, but I see comments constantly about, go woke, go broke kind of things. And what's comical to me about that is the whole term go woke, go broke is you saying that you're offended. So you're basically threatening to not spend money because now you're offended. So the whole thing is just absolutely absurd to me. Companies who want to manage their brand from a corporate level where, equality, inclusivity, and all of these things that 2020, it's where we're at. You're either 50% offended this way or 50% offended that way. And to all the people that are just trying to claim like some sort of bravado about your your offendedness is right and the other offendedness is wrong. You're all just being offended. And in my opinion, in today's day and age, we have the right to free speech. You have the right to be offended by something I say, and I have the right to walk away and never listen to you ever again. We're all in that situation. So this is where I think Harley-Davidson went wrong with Million Dollar Bogan. They decided to contact Geelong, it seems like, and threatened some sort of repercussions if these videos from Million Dollar Bogan stayed up. He made some comments. I believe there was some gay jokes that were in there. I don't remember. I saw the video, but I don't remember. Nothing stood out to me as overly offensive, but Harley-Davidson decided this was too offensive and decided to interject in this scenario. And I just don't understand it because, again, Million Dollar Bogan is not paid by Harley-Davidson. Geelong Harley-Davidson is an independent Harley-Davidson dealership, so they have a relationship there. What's bizarre is that Harley-Davidson, over the last, their entire history, has developed this business model around the manufacturer makes the bikes, they ship them out to these independent dealers. The independent dealers go about creating these incredibly personal relationships with people in their local communities to sell them Harley-Davidson's product. Daniel Hayes and Geelong Harley-Davidson are a perfect example of they're buddies. I mean, they did exactly the execution that Harley-Davidson set out for. So if Harley-Davidson's now going to start saying, well, YouTubers who are filming in those dealerships, which YouTubers are sort of a new thing, I guess, to the industry, but it's no different than anybody else showing up to any event at a Harley-Davidson dealership. Is Harley-Davidson going to start saying that, hey, look, sorry, motorcycle clubs don't fit our narrative, so all these Harley-Davidson dealerships, you can no longer have these people at your events because they don't represent the product that we're trying to sell? Well, that's not right, because Harley-Davidson currently is actively rewiring the company around the idea of kind of pulling in some of their products. We're going to sell only to our core demographic. Well, your core demographic is Million Dollar Bogan, people who are going to make insensitive jokes at a dealership and just kind of have a laugh. That is what a huge, overwhelmingly majority of the Harley-Davidson core customer is. So we're going to just basically kind of suck it all in a little bit and just focus on the people that really made our brand, but then turn around and threaten those people when they say something that's clearly a joke that you are now not going to condone. There's basically three options here. You can say nothing, which is always an option. In my opinion, with this Million Dollar Bogan thing, they could have just said nothing. Well, if all of a sudden it blows up to some sort of new social awareness, it's all over the news that this guy said this thing and it's tied to the brand. Well, guess what? Harley-Davidson has the ability to say, he's not an employee of ours. He's an independent YouTuber. He's saying what he says. We don't stand behind it. We don't condone it. Not a crazy stretch of the imagination for any company right now to be like, hey, it's not my YouTube channel. I have nothing to do with it. Then the other thing they have is they can come down and just, bring the smack down on everybody and try to craft the narrative. But if Harley-Davidson, the company that builds their basically entire brand, has been built around being a rebel, not being told by the man what to do, and it's basically built the entire culture around that. If their new corporate policy is going to be basically Big Brother and start trying to crush the small guy, the brand's dead. So they can't do that. So again, it's also not smart business. Harley-Davidson, YouTube is not going anywhere. Independent content creators like myself are not going anywhere. Million Dollar Bogan, for the time being, is saying that now he feels basically disenfranchised from the brand. He has now shared that amongst his 63,000 subscribers, 13 million views this guy has amassed, and now you're sort of creating this world where now the brand is going to have to deal with somebody with that level of brand identity who has been so offended and disenfranchised that now very well may never make Harley-Davidson content again. Even worse, might make content to the contrary of another brand, and forever the narrative becomes that, he, diehard Harley-Davidson guy, was shied off the brand because of something that really could have been completely avoided. Harley-Davidson, I hope you're learning lessons. I want to see you succeed. Things like this are not going to make things any easier. And at this point, making things harder when you're already up against incredible loss in sales and the brand that is bruised beyond belief right now. Just doesn't make sense. I hope that this is all blown out of proportion. I hope that Harley-Davidson reached out to Geelong Harley-Davidson and said, hey, look, we saw this video. We really don't like what was said. If you can talk to Million Dollar Bogan and, you know, try to address this so that maybe he's a little bit more aware of this in the future, and, you know, just try to have the conversation. And then maybe Geelong said, hey, Daniel Hayes, Harley called. They weren't happy with the content. And at that point, he just blew his lid and went off the deep end. Maybe there's just a huge misunderstanding here. I hope that's what the case is. I hope that Harley-Davidson would be willing to, whether it be on my channel, somebody else's channel, their own channel, something, come up with a discussion to be had about what they think is acceptable and what is not. Because if they're going to just start threatening YouTubers through their independent dealerships, if that's really the way this went, it's only going to get bad, and it's basically going to be irreparable damage for the brand that I just don't think is smart. That's my opinion, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really wanted to make a video on this because I was really angry when I saw that video from Million Dollar Bogan. I actually came directly into the studio. I was going to record a video, but I said, I better think about this for a couple days, and that is where I'm at now. So just trying to kind of approach this from a whole, and this is kind of my opinion at this point. So thank you very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I will see you guys next time.